Welcome in, everybody. We're going to get started in just a minute. Your question of the day today is, what is a television show you highly recommend? It can be any type of show. It does not have to be scripted. It can be reality TV if you're a reality TV fan, or documentary or news. We've got some good suggestions in the box today. And I'm going to try my best not, Yellowstone finally popped up. That is, my boss, Steve Custer, is obsessed with Yellowstone. I have not watched it yet, but I've heard lots of good things about it as well. And Designated Survivor. I think I started watching that and then I stopped. Y'all have given me, like I said before, great ideas for while we have free time right now to be watching television. We have some ideas. I am going to go ahead and start rolling into the intro as people come in. Today we are talking Edpuzzle for asynchronous assignments, and we're going to go through some things. Those of you who signed up in time yesterday, I sent you out some homework. We're going to talk about that homework. A reminder, my name is Lori Roberts, and I am your high school ed tech specialist. Lauren Mercer is my partner in crime who is also here to help you. So both of us are available to assist. Today, what we are going to do is we are going to look at that example I sent out as homework. So if you didn't do it, no worries. We're going to talk about how to access Edpuzzle. We're then going to talk about how to create classes. We're going to do this together, hopefully. So we'll have on your screen, you can put WebEx on one side and open a Google tab on another. I'll show you how to do that. Then we're going to look at how to create content, and content are your videos and your assignments that you're actually making. And then we'll talk about how to actually assign them out to students, what grading looks like, and then we'll end with any questions you may have and with our survey. So what we're going to do is, also we have our resources. You know they're there, gccic.net/edtech for all of your needs. And we are going, thank you. We're going to, I did not mean to click on that. So let's look at our example that we had to do. Actually, first, let's answer the question, what is Edpuzzle? Okay. Edpuzzle is a way for you to take a video, either a video from YouTube or a video that you create yourself. So you could take a lesson that you're teaching, you record that lesson, you bring it into Edpuzzle, and then you can embed notes, written and audio notes. You can embed multiple choice questions that are graded automatically by the system. And you can create open-ended questions that you would grade manually. So if you created, for my Edpuzzle assignment, let's say all 4 of my questions were multiple choice, it would auto grade it and give the kids their grade automatically as soon as they got finished. If I added in questions where I have to manually grade, like I did on the one that you had to take, I would have to go grade those. As soon as I grade them, their grade's going to get updated in Google Classroom. So it syncs in with Google Classroom really well. So I'm going to click on this so that we can take a look at it real quick. For those of you that may not have gotten the assignment in time because you signed up today. So what I've got is I've got my video here from one of my favorite television shows, Schitt's Creek. And these little nodes that you see kind of down here at the bottom, they look like teardrops. Those are where I've embedded something into the video, whether it's a note that's not graded, or I can see off to the side, I've got to do a multiple choice, an open-ended, another open-ended, and then a multiple choice. In my settings, when I set this up to send to you, I set it up so that you couldn't skip around. So you had to start at the beginning, you had to watch, you have to answer the question to keep going any further. So the kids can't just automatically jump to the end. It will tell them it's locked and it will start the video. When I sent you this homework, I just sent you the link. Okay, so what ends up happening sometimes in our own classes is we create something, we send the link to the students, and then the students try to access it and they have problems because we may not give them all the instructions that they need. And when you post this to Edpuzzle, or excuse me, when you post an Edpuzzle assignment to Google Classroom, it's just going to post the link. So before you send these out, or maybe the day you send them out, or whenever, I would show the students, this is what it's going to look like when you do it, because they may get confused, which is what happened to some of you when you went here, because when you click the play button, this happens. And you may go, Lori, it's frozen. I don't know what to do. It's paused. The video is paused and it's waiting for you to read what I have added. And since I embedded an audio version of me reading this note to you, that has to be played before the students can continue. So it would play me. I'm reading this. It's okay if you opened it a few times. I saw some of y'all did. And then now that continue button is there. I click continue, and then now it's going to start playing the video. I can't fast forward on the video. I've got to watch it until it gets to that first question. Okay. So, Meg, you mean the last question in the video was mean? So now I've got my question. The first question, what are they making? The student can always go back and rewatch, and then they would pick their answer. Do you remember what the answer was? Does anybody remember? Type it in the box if you remember what the answer was. No, not the number. Yeah, the number was 11. They are making enchiladas. That is what they're making. So if I click enchiladas and hit submit, it's going to tell me I got it right. If I got it wrong, it would tell me I got it wrong. I would click continue and we'd go on. Okay. If I left this, if I'm logged in and doing this with my kids through Google Classroom, it would save their progress. So it would know how far they got. So if they needed a return, they could. What you did is what's called an open class. And so it's a little different. I didn't want to have to set up a whole Google Classroom just for y'all to take this. So it's a little bit different. Meg asked if they get it wrong, do they have to watch it again? No, they don't. They can't even change their answer. So if they, even on the open-ended, if I type in my response on an open-ended and I keep going, and then I realize, oh no, I got that answer wrong, I can't go back and fix it. So it's right in the moment on what they're answering. Okay, so that may be something you want to go through with your kids as well. You're answering it, you can't go back and change your answer, because after you answer that open-ended question, you may then get the answer. I may then explain to you what the answer was and see if you got it right or not. There we go again. I'm clicking on the link and I shouldn't be. So what we are going to do next, I'm going to show us again. We're going to drag, if you want to do this along with me, which I would highly recommend, take your WebEx screen and you can either drag him off to the left or the right side. And when you bump him all the way over, it's going to fill up kind of grayish on one side of your screen. And then it's going to ask, what do you want to go on the other side? And so put your Chrome window over there so that you can open up a new tab. And I'm going to log out so that you can see this whole process. We can do it all together. No, I don't want it full screen. There we go. Okay. So what we're going to do, again, like I said, open up an Edpuzzle. Open up Edpuzzle, just edpuzzle.com. And when you get it open, you should see up in the upper right-hand corner, you're going to see log in or sign up. You can actually do either. If you choose sign up, you would pick I'm a teacher. We're signing up with our Google accounts, and it needs to be your student Google account. So make sure you're logging in with that one. If you've used Edpuzzle in the past and you used your staff account, your just regular GCCISD, then make a new one with your student. Using the student account will allow you to sync with Google Classroom, which is what you want. So you're going to say, I'm a teacher, and then you're going to say sign in with Google. We're going to pick our student account, And if this is your first time logging in, it's going to ask you to verify some information. It may ask you what content area you teach, I think what grade level, and it also asks you your campus. So make sure you pick your campus. It might also ask for you to verify your email, so it may send you a verification code as well. Edpuzzle.com opened your opened class. Click.
Yeah, edpuzzle.com, and it's the Schitt's Creek fold of cheese. I don't have the blank sign-in stuff like you're talking about.
Let me do. You may have to leave the open class.
I can leave an open class.
Up in the upper top somewhere, it might say leave.
Okay, now I've got that. Make any videos and get started. Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Caitlin. Some of y'all ran into that issue yesterday too, whenever you were already signed into your Edpuzzle account. So then when you tried to join mine, you got a little bit of an error message on there. So if you ever need to go in to be a student in Edpuzzle, just choose login and say student, and you can actually log into your account as a student versus as a teacher, and it's kind of weird. So that may come up as well. So give me those of you who have your cameras on, give me a thumbs up. Are we good with, we got our account, we're in, we're making it. I see ya. We're making it. I got the almost. Thank you. I will mention while you're still getting logged in, I'm going to tell you about this piece. CNI, the CNI department, purchased Edpuzzle Pro School for all of the GCCISD high school teachers. So you have Pro School, and what you should see when you log in is if you click in the upper right-hand corner where either your picture is or your initials, it should show you your school name, and it should say Pro School already for you. Should is the key word here. If you don't see Pro School, let me know, and I may need to send you the code to be able to, there's a special link, and I didn't want to put it in here since I'm recording this. I don't want outsiders to get our good stuff. So send me an email if yours does not show up with Pro School, and we'll get you signed in correctly so you'll have the full Pro account. The advantage of the Pro account is you can have more than 20 assignments. So with the free version, you only get, I think, 20 assignments that you can have, or 20, they call them content, not really assignments. So when you're logged in, since my screen is a little bit smaller, I didn't give out the upgrade code yet. Neil, just send me an email when you click on your little guy up here, if you don't see Pro School, shoot me an email and I'll send you the referral, the upgrade code link that they sent us. Okay. Since my screen's a little bit smaller, you do see that Pro School, and then you'll also see Goose Creek off to the side as well. Ashley, I think it will keep everything as long as you used your student GCCIC account. You should be fine. It should roll over into their version. You may want to check with them just to make sure you don't get charged anymore on it. Perfect. Okay, it says, I just got a note that once you verify your email address through your student email account, it should change over to Pro School. So check your email after this session and see, or even now, see if you get that verified. Check your junk mail, your clutter mail, your regular inbox. And once you verify, it should bring you over to Pro School. If it doesn't, let me know. Okay. So once we get logged in, we're going to first talk about the My Classes area. There's two different kinds of classes that you can set up in Edpuzzle. There are your Google Classroom classes, which is what high school is going to be using. If junior high and elementary choose to use Edpuzzle, they have to use what are called open classes because there is parent permission that needs to happen if you're 13 or under. Since our kids at the high school level, since we have the Pro account, since they are all over 13, we can use the syncing with Google Classroom. Okay. So what you are going to do, we're going to do this together. You're going to click on My Classes at the top. So in that top right-hand corner, click on My Classes. Your screen is going to open up, and off to the left-hand side, it should say My Classes, and you should have a button for Add New Classes. Is that correct? Yes? Okay, good. I'm getting head nods. Mine looks different than yours because I've already done this before. So you would click Add New Class, and then what should show up is Google Classroom. Oh, perfect. Neil, it says it's in the middle of the screen for y'all if you don't have anything in there. So you'd click Google Classroom. Once you click on Google Classroom, what'll happen is all of the Google Classrooms that you are a teacher of will appear. So for those of you that are co-teachers in lots of people's classes, they're going to show up. Then what you need to do is go find your classes and put check marks next to them.
Lori,
Yes.
there's a parental consent screen where it's asking a question. Which one do we click?
I didn't know when that was going to pop up, so it's popping up now. Yes, the parental, and there's two. There's yes and there's no. You're going to say yes.
I'm going to verify your account first.
Okay, you may have to go check your email for that verification code before it'll let you sync it in. Okay.
Student.gcc. I don't even know where to find the student.gcc.
Your Gmail account. So those of you that got the yes, no, say yes. And then you'll check those classes. I don't think it's going to do anything weird, so I'll go ahead and check a couple here for y'all for sake over here. Make sure these are actually my own classes. And then you'll click Import Classes. And when you do, it may take a second depending on how many you are syncing and how many students. This sync is happening right now. So right now it's going to Google Classroom. It's pulling all your students that are in your Google Classroom right now at 2:18 p.m. on Friday. If John Smith gets enrolled in your class at 3:30 this afternoon and you invite him in or he joins your class in Google Classroom at 3:30, he's not going to be synced in Edpuzzle. You'd have to manually, I'll show you where that button is. You'll manually click a button to re-import those students. So as kids get added, you will need to re-import. I probably shouldn't have clicked that button. Miss Wiggins, once you verify your email address, they're going to send you an email to verify to your student account. It is going to give you the pro then. Once you verify your email, if you don't see pro, it's when you click on your little icon in the upper right, it'll say pro with your school. It looks like your students are a little light on homework. That happened when you imported your classes. So mine is just like taking a really long time. I think probably because I have too many students. Patricia, it's going to send you an email to your @student.gccic.net. Yep. And then click on the email and it'll log you in. Okay, I'm going to cancel that attempt at syncing. It got one of my class. Oh, I did get them. It was just taking a while. Do I have my students all in here? Yep, I sure do. So if yours is taking a little while and it looks like it hung up, you may just need to go over and refresh the screen because it looks like mine all imported. But I unfortunately picked the largest classes, so that's probably why it got bogged down a bit. So once you import your classes, like I said, if students come in later, that button is going to show up right at the top. So now I'm in my high school ed tech support group. If I click on students, I can see all the kids. And if I click on import students, if anybody new would come in, it would bring them into my class. Okay, so you will have to do that manually. It is not automatic. Are we good with how to import our classes? Those of us who have imported, if you're still waiting on that verification email, just kind of watch as we go. This is being recorded. So we are going to go ahead.
What's the answer for the, do you have parental consent?
It is yes. Yes. Say yes.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Yep. Check your spam, check your junk mail to see if maybe that email from Edpuzzle went there. Okay. So once you import your classes, again, you may need to bring in your students. Okay. But they should all be there. All the ones that are currently enrolled in your class. So next we're going to take a look at the content. Okay, once you have your kids in there, that My Classes piece, you shouldn't have to, most of you probably aren't going to have to do a lot with, you're not going to have to bring in new classes, except for in January when your class roster, some of you that teach half semester classes, you're going to have to re-import those new classes into the system. So up at the top of your screen, you'll see a link for content. We're going to click on the content link. And what will show up, I'm going to make my screen ever so slightly bigger so that we kind of match a little bit here. But over on the left-hand side, I have content that I can look through Edpuzzle's curriculum. That's what the curriculum button does. And it pulls in work that other people have done. And you can search by level. So I could say high school. Then it goes by content area. So I could say economics and government. I could say microeconomics. I could then pick supply and demand. And then now I've got some videos and lessons that other teachers have created. Now notice next to this video, see down here at the bottom, it's got that teardrop, but it's the opposite way this time. That's how many questions or notes have been embedded in that content. So on this first row, I've got one with 2 questions, one with 3, and one with 13. I can take what this teacher has done, I can add to it, or I could delete out questions or notes that they've put in that I maybe don't like, and I want to make changes to them. So you can use other people's stuff. There's also videos in here that don't have any questions associated with them yet. So this supply and demand activity, it's a 34-minute video. There are no notes or questions embedded in it yet. You also have a Goose Creek option as well. And there is My Content. Then at the very bottom, you have channels that are popular from YouTube. So there's the Edpuzzle, YouTube, Khan Academy, National Geographic, TED Talks. All of these are there too. There's 2 places you can search. So up at the very top of the screen, you can search for content. So I could search in Bill of Rights. And if I hit Bill of Rights, it's going to search through everywhere. It's going to search through Edpuzzle, through YouTube, through Khan Academy, through National Geographic. And it's going to put those into different categories for me. The other thing that I really like is if you click on Goose Creek CISD, you can search just through our content that our teachers are sharing with each other. So if I wanted to find a lesson about the Bill of Rights, I can search right here. It's by general education because that's what I picked as my content area. If your content area is math and you picked math, it would search by math first. I can clear that filter. So I can say clear. And now it's searching through for Bill of Rights through any of our currently 236 teachers that have signed up. And I can see the teacher that created it. This is not my lesson. I know it says Lori Roberts Bill of Rights. I just copied Sarah Herwick's lesson. Okay. I did attach myself to a school. So with this account, I'm attached to Robert E. Lee. So that's what I did. So my admin folks, just attach yourself to one of those schools in the district and you should be good. And then I can keep scrolling again. It shows me who did it. If I wanted to look at the lesson, I can just click on the lesson and then I can jump around. Since I'm looking to see if I want this or not, I can go jump to some of these different questions and look and see what's being asked. And I can watch the whole lesson or I can skip around. So being the teacher, you've got a little bit more flexibility than what the students do when you're trying to pick a lesson. And then you can also see it has other versions and similar videos. So there is a lot of content out there. You can pull in any video from YouTube as long as the video is not private. If the video is private, it's not going to work. So sometimes what you may end up seeing on some of these lessons is, see this lesson right here with this weird looking screen, civil liberties and civil rights. This person who made this video, the video was public or unlisted when they created this lesson, but the creator of the video changed it and either made it private or they deleted it. And so now the lesson's not going to work because the original YouTube creator took away that access. Okay. If it's your own video, you'll be good to go. Okay. So the Goose Creek CISD content library is full of tons of stuff, and you can even click on people to see what all lessons have they provided. And again, you can create, many of you are creating your own video content already for your students. You can bring that into Edpuzzle so that when you're asking questions like you would in class when you're doing a lesson, you can actually embed that question into the video so students have to respond before they can go on. Okay. So that's the kind of content library. We went through how to see how to use someone's. If you did want to use them, if I wanted to use this let me pick one with actual stuff on it. Let me pick this one. If I wanted to use this, there are buttons in the bottom right-hand corner. There's edit, copy, assign, and share. Now, edit, copy, and assign all kind of do the same thing. They just take you to, they're all going to copy. Edit will let you start editing it immediately. Copy saves it to your My Content area. And then assign copies it into your content and immediately lets you assign it out to your students. So you could use it as is and not make any changes. I would personally recommend watch the whole video through, check all the questions that somebody else has embedded before you share it out with your students. It being on Edpuzzle, you're probably safe, but it's always good to double check because you never know. Okay, so you do have those buttons. And then for me, what I think a lot of you will probably end up doing is you have your own YouTube videos that are either your videos or somebody else's video content that you really like. So what you would do to add in your own video that you found on YouTube is you would go to YouTube. And I'll be safe and just not randomly search YouTube. So I'm going to go to our EdTech page. And I would find the video that I wanted to use. I would go to share and choose copy, or you can copy from the top link as well. Either one's going to work. You just need that YouTube URL. You would go into Edpuzzle, and at the very top where it says search content, you paste that URL in. Once you paste it, if you hit enter, that content has now been created in your My Content library. That video is now on there. And now I can start editing that content. Another option that you've got is if you go to My Content and click Add Content off to the right, you can upload a video yourself. So if you had your own video that you saved, you could upload that as well. You can create folders so you can organize your materials a little bit nicer in here as well. because I know some of you, I bet Ashley has a million videos. She probably has lots of folders that she has. She's nodding her head yes. So you can organize if you want to. You don't just have to leave them all sitting out there. Okay. So if you will create a video, that one is you're going to pick a video from somebody else. It's basically the same as going and searching through. That's what the create option does, Stacy. So if you click add content and click create video, it's the same thing as going to home or curriculum and finding a video that's already there and using it. So if everyone would find a video, you do not have to have your own YouTube account. When you click upload a video, it's going to ask you to choose either from your Google Drive account or choose from your computer. So if I pick choose from my computer, I'd go find a video. And let me find a small one. And then you'd find that video file. And once you attach it there, it's going to upload. And when it uploads, it's actually uploading to their system. So you could add it to a YouTube account, YouTube channel if you wanted to, and then bring it in that way. Or you can directly upload your video into Edpuzzle. Does that make sense, Stacy? Yep. Okay, good. So I'm going to let that prepare and process. It may take a while. So once you have your content, your actual video, once it's in my content, to edit it, I'm going to click edit down here in the bottom. And I have two things I can do. Okay. I know at the top there are three, but you can really only do two. You can cut the video. So if I wanted to trim out the beginning of the video or trim out the end, and I only want them to be using this 2 minutes of the video or 1 minute of the video, I can do that. I'm now cutting it so that this is the portion that I want them to actually be doing for the questions that I have. You can also cut out portions inside the video so that you're only using pieces. So if you found a great video that's 30 minutes long, I'm pretty sure none of your kids want to sit through a 30-minute long video. I'm sure you don't want to sit through a 30-minute long video. Those of you watching my training right now, you've been sitting through 30 minutes, and I applaud you for that. But me, myself, I have even gotten to the point with, I'm going to say the word again, TikTok videos. If it's longer than 15 seconds, I'm like, can you get to the point already? I'm over this. So that's kind of where we live these days. So think about that when you're picking videos. Don't pick an hour and a half long video and expect your kids to sit through it and answer 50 questions. Okay. Think smaller chunks for them to go through. So this is a good way, the cut feature, to cut out the pieces that are important that they need to watch, and you can kind of trash the rest. So Edpuzzle lets you do that. Your second tab up here is voiceover. This used to work, and now YouTube has blocked it because it doesn't go with their terms of service because it's not the original person's work. They used to let you take somebody else's video, add your own voiceover on top of it while the video was going. So instead, they just took it off. So I don't know if it's ever coming back, but right now you can't do this at all anymore. And then your last option for questions are the different types of questions you're going to add. So you can add multiple choice, open-ended, or just a note. So a multiple choice question, once you click it, it's going to pop up with a box for you to format your question in. You do have the ability to format your text, bold, italicize, underline. You can do superscripts and subscripts. You can also attach links. You can attach photos and pictures that you maybe have saved on your computer. And my math people, there is an equation editor built in to Edpuzzle. Coming soon, what they have said is that coming soon, there will also be an option to have like a video recorder where you can have yourself reading the question to the kid as well. So they've said that's coming soon, but it hasn't been added yet. So you would type in your question. I don't know, I'm just making up questions. And then underneath, by default, every single time, the first answer you put in is going to be the correct answer. So if you don't want the first answer to always be correct, it's not going to shuffle the answer options. You've got to click on the X to make it the wrong answer and then go pick the correct answer of what you want to be the correct one. Otherwise, A is always going to be correct. Again, with our answer choices, you do have the ability there as well to do formatting on your text, and you can add images and links too. Okay. That's a multiple choice question. You're open-ended, same choices. You're just not giving them answers to pick from. It's not auto-graded. Okay. And then your last option is a note. And one of the recommendations, especially from Edpuzzle, is to always start the video with a note and have that note be your instructions to the students. What you are about to watch is blah, de blah, blah. Pay attention for blah, blah, blah. I'm going to be asking questions throughout. Make sure you answer those questions. Remember, you can always go back and rewatch parts if you need to. And then what the note does let you do currently is you can do a recorded note. So you can record yourself saying it as well, especially for your students that need to hear you reading those directions. That's an important little piece. If you add the audio note, they have to listen to it before they go on. There's no option of them listening or not. Okay. Once you get whatever it is you want to add, let's say I want to add a note here, I'd say save. It would save that node to where it wants to go. I'd go find the next place in my video, or I can move it around if I have it in the wrong spot. And then I'd go find the next part in my video, and I'd add my next question, my next note, and I would go through here adding all of my questions, notes, etc., and have them all in the video. Does that make sense? Editing for cutting the video and putting in those questions. Okay. This is the
Lori?
Yep. Go for it.
Can you go back, click on the voiceover real quick?
Continue. Yes.
It says it's blocked to comply with YouTube's terms of service. Does that mean if the video comes from another source that you could possibly still do it?
They only pull from YouTube.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yep. And it won't even, like, this is my own video that I uploaded. They won't even let me do the voiceover with my own video. So if there is something that you want to have your own voice on, you may want to just record your own lesson to do that. And when I say lesson, that doesn't necessarily mean, it could be you having your PowerPoint up and you recording yourself going through your lecture with your kids and kind of doing a flipped model where they need to watch this outside of class time, so that when you are meeting with them class time, either virtually or face-to-face, you can dig deeper into questioning, making sure kids know what they're doing. It's kind of that whole model of lecture in class and then have them do homework at home. And then when they have questions when they're doing the homework, it's harder for them to get answers. You have them do the lecture at home, and then they can answer questions in class with you, and you can have higher level discussions with them. No, I wasn't, but I will now. Somebody just sent me a message, so I'm going to do that. So I'm going to go here to my multiple choice question, and nobody asked me, Lori, what's that little feedback button down there at the bottom, right? So you click on that option, and you can add in feedback to your students on the different answer choices that they may select. So if they put the wrong answer, this would be the feedback for the right answer. And then I could also have feedback for the incorrect answer. So I could have this link to, if I have a resource somewhere, or why they got the answer wrong, especially for math. You know, you usually put in those common answers of where they could have gone wrong, and you can give them that feedback on how they can correct that response. So it's got built-in remediation in for the multiple choice question options. Okay. If I go to open-ended, I could give them some feedback here, but it's not going to be a yes or no feedback because I'm not going to know if they got it right or wrong on the open-ended. Okay. So only on the multiple choice is that little feedback button going to be important, especially for those incorrect answers so that they can know why that was the wrong answer and give them some feedback immediately so that they have it. Thank you for reminding me of that, Amy. So you would build it all the way through. You can see up here at the top, it saves it automatically. The little pencil, you can rename it. It's going to give it the name of the video, but you can rename that to whatever you want to name that assignment. And when you're done, even if I'm not completely done, I'm going to hit finish and it's going to save it for me. And if I need to come back and edit later, it all lives in content, my content. There's my video. So if I need to come back and edit, I would click on that button and now I can edit. Are we cool with editing? So far, most of us. Yep, I'm getting okay. Are we getting excited about this? Neil, do you mean delete the entire thing if I don't like it? Yeah, I want to cut it. Yep, if I don't like it, I would hit delete right here in the bottom right-hand corner. Or if you're on the content screen, my content, I can click on these little boxes and I can delete multiple ones at a time.
Okay.
That's also there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And, yeah, talking about getting excited. I mean, with forensics, I use a lot of cut video for forensics. And I've actually made Google Form quizzes to go along with them, and so I can input those.
Absolutely.
This is great for me anyway.
Yes. That's good. Good to hear. You do also have the option, I'll mention it down in the bottom right-hand corner when you have it open. You can duplicate. The reason you would want to duplicate is because if I click edit, I can only edit things that haven't been assigned. So if I try to go back to my content and I try to edit this Schitt's Creek assignment, since it's currently being assigned to students, I can't make changes to it, okay? So what I need to do is duplicate if I need to go make changes to it or assign it out to other kids because it's still being possibly done by students. The other thing you have the ability to do is in the bottom right-hand corner, you can click on public and you can change it to private, which means within our ecosystem of Goose Creek CISD, nobody else would be able to see it. So if you had some lessons that you're like, I'm still working on these, I don't want anybody else to copy them because they're not really done yet, you could make them private until you're ready to share them. So that option is there too. The next thing is assigning. So I'm going to go back to my content. Yes, the public is only for the GCCIS. Let me get back to you and check on that. Good question. I'm making myself a note. Actually, I think the public may be for all. And maybe no matter what, when you're in Goose Creek, you can see it. I'll check and I'll get back to y'all. Amy thinks it's everyone. We'll check on that one because that's a new feature that they added recently because people on the Edpuzzle Facebook group were all excited about having that ability. So if I want to assign this to students, I would open it up and in the bottom right-hand corner where I go to edit, I have a button to assign as well. So I'm going to click assign. And when I do, the box up here is going to ask me, do I want to assign it to a class or do I want a public link? You're probably not going to want the public link unless you want to share it with your colleagues. So this link that it gives you up here at the top, if I wanted to share this with a buddy over at GCM, I could copy this link and give them to it directly so they don't have to search through the whole system to try to find it. That would be a quicker way if you wanted to. What I want is assigning it to a class. So I would check the classes that I want to assign it to. So let's say I want to assign it to my, I really don't want to accidentally do that. I'm going to just do one, but you can do multiples, okay? I don't want to send this out and people get freaked out. So I'm going to just pick my one little pretend class that I have. On the top right, you say when it starts. So right now it's saying today at midnight. So if I assigned this right now to my kids, they would have access to it. Then you can pick a due date. You can leave it as none or you can pick one, and it'll bring up a calendar where you can go and pick your due date, and you can pick the time as well. So if I wanted to give my kids a week, I could pick next Friday. I'd click save. Prevent skipping by default is on. I would suggest leave it on so that they can't skip around on the video. There is an option to turn on closed captioning. That's what turn on CC is. I would turn that on always. If the YouTube video doesn't have closed captioning, nothing's going to happen. But if it does, now those closed captioning are available for your students to be able to see. And then I would also always check post on Google Classroom, because otherwise, if you don't, trying to get it back into Google Classroom later, that's where I have seen people have lots of issues, because once I assign this out to this sandbox class, if I decide I also want to later assign it to Google Classroom, there's going to be 2 different assignment links that are sent out to each class. Each class is going to have their own link that gets created and sent, so that kids in one class can't be taking another class's quiz. And what teachers sometimes accidentally do is they think I can just go copy this link for my sandbox class and share it with my Google Classroom class. None of these Google Classroom kids are going to be able to get in, because this link is specific for the kids in this sandbox class. Does that make sense? Okay, so make sure when you're ready to assign, I would turn all of these toggles on. And then once you're ready, you would click assign, and it's going to assign this out to that class. I can see it's already been assigned to Lori. Anybody else in my class, it would show up. In my Google Classroom class, if I go to classwork for that class, an assignment has been posted, Edpuzzle WebEx meetings. If I click on that, this is what the kids see. They just see a link. They don't see any other information. So what I would suggest doing is, once you post it to your class, go click on the 3 dots, go to edit, and add in instructions for your kids to tell them what to do. Okay? And if you want it to go under a specific topic, you've got to manually go do that as well. It's not going to do that for you automatically. Does that make sense? So make sure to edit those 2 pieces, or else the kids are just going to get a link. And you want to explain to them what they're doing. Once the kids get this assignment on the iPad and on a computer, all the kid has to do is log in to their Google Classroom. They're going to go to their class. They're going to go to classwork. And there's my assignment. I would click on the link. It's going to take me in. It's going to say sign in to my account if I'm not already signed in. If they're already signed into Edpuzzle, it's going to go straight to their assignment. So I'm going to click sign in with Google. And then there's my assignment to complete. I play. I get to those questions. I answer them, and it will give me my grade. And as soon as I'm done, the grade's going to show up automatically. This is what I've already done. It would show up for them automatically in Google Classroom. You don't have to return it. You don't have to import grades. It does it all for you auto-magically. Okay. Let me go see if I missed some questions. After the due date, no one has access. That is correct. So even if they tried to click on that link, it would tell them the due date has ended. Sorry, child, but you can't do this one. Amy says, very important, remind your students to turn their iPad landscape so they can see the notes and questions. So make sure to do that. And as you noticed, when I said this, I clicked on everything. If I'm on the iPad, I'm tapping on that link and it's going to open in Google Classroom, in the little browser version of Google Classroom. I don't ever have to go open the Edpuzzle app. You can download the Edpuzzle app, but it's not required. The kids don't have to use it. If they log into Edpuzzle using the Edpuzzle app, they'll still be able to see all their assignments. But I like telling them to go through Google Classroom so that they can read your instructions that you have to go along with that assignment rather than going straight to Edpuzzle. That would be my suggestion. Okay. Once they have completed it, so we did that, we did student access. What the grading side, I'm going to take you two ways. When you go into your individual class, let me go to this one, and I go look at the assignments that have been completed. I can click on the assignment. This one I've graded, so I could go to questions and I would see my options. I can also, let me go to the one that y'all did. So I have 60 new answers. So it tells me I have answers to grade. So if I've already graded, it would tell me if I had more waiting for me. I can also come in and click on individual people if I wanted to. I can see how far people have finished. This isn't 100% as their grade. That means they watched the video all the way to the end. Whereas these guys here, they either haven't started or they've only gotten partially through. So I can see how far they've gone. I can see if they've turned it in because they finished. And then I can also look by question to go in and see how the students have done. So my auto-graded multiple choice ones, I can see 31 out of 36 people got that right. So we're golden on whatever that content is. If I go down here to the bottom, only half of the people got that one right. And of course, because you really had to go back and pay attention, how many times did they say the word fold? And it was 11. I just thought that'd be a funny little question to throw in there. So I could click on this, and then now I can come and see who got it wrong and which answers they picked. So it was between 9 was probably the biggest of the wrong answers, and it lists everybody out for me so that I can see them. Okay. I can even go back and preview the question if I wanted to. And then if it's a manually graded question, it's going to show me the answers by student so that I can go look at them. And I can also click, I think I'm on the wrong screen. So I need to go back. Let me go back. I need to go to the 60 answers to grade one. So I'm going to click on the blue button. And now that brings me to where I can mark them incorrect or correct. And all I've got to do is go click the green check bar if it's right, click the X if it's wrong. And if I want to give partial credit, I would click in that box and I could give partial credit. Notice there's also a box you can give them comments, so you can give them feedback on it for them to come back and look at as well. Or I could mark them all as correct if I wanted to, if they were all right, and it would do them all at once for me automatically. So all of these have gotten marked correct. Okay, so you do have that as well. So now if this was attached to Google Classroom, when the kids go back, they can now see what their grade is in Google Classroom. You also have access, since we have the Pro account, to the grade book at the top, and it does kind of the same thing for the classes that are linked into Google Classroom. You'd see all the videos and you'd see a grade for an average of everything that they've done. So you can look and see at the kids, how are they doing on all of these videos all together rather than just one video at a time, if that makes sense. Okay. Cool. Golden. I told you we were going to take the full time on this one, and we did. It really is nice to dig into, to kind of just play with it, to see. I also added in a couple of links here. These are clickable, so once I send you this presentation when we're done, I highly, highly, highly recommend this Edpuzzle and Google Classroom Level 1 class if you're just getting started. It's 3 little modules. The whole class takes about 45 minutes. And what it is, they're all Edpuzzle videos, and you go through them and you just listen, pay attention, and then they ask you questions throughout. So you get the experience of what your kids would do, and then you're also learning about how to do everything. So I basically did everything in this Edpuzzle Level 1 class with us right now. But in case you want to dig deeper, there's also an Edpuzzle Level 2 course, and then their Edpuzzle YouTube channel is amazing. There are tons of videos. They also have some webinars that they did this summer, like how to use Edpuzzle for ELA, how to use Edpuzzle for math, how to use Edpuzzle for social studies. They broke them down into content areas. And then they also have mini videos as well. And I'm also going to mention it because something has come up with them where they've gotten a lot of questions about Google Classroom troubleshooting. And I linked this video in the presentation as well, but it goes through some steps. If your kids, they click on the link, and when they click on that Edpuzzle link from Google Classroom, if it says, sorry, you don't have access, or your teacher hasn't given you the class, usually what's happening is the kids aren't logged in to the correct Google account. So they have to make sure they're in their student Google account, or else it's not going to let them into Edpuzzle to see your assignment. Another thing might be if they're a new kid, you may need to remember to go and hit that import button. So a few little items on there just to think about. But it's a great place to find tons of little help things in there as well. So, question to end us today is, do you see yourself using Edpuzzle with your students? So give me a yes or a no in that box. Look at, ooh, I got lots of exclamation points.